Todd, I'm so excited to have you here. You are a rock star and a legend in the real estate industry. You've been in the industry for 23 years. You've worked in every market and every cycle, from Vegas to Chicago, from declining prices to skyrocketing prices, and you've served over 600 families in your career. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. It's great to be here. It's really nice to be able to talk about real estate.
It's my favorite topic. I know it's your favorite topic. Let's talk about the Chicago market. What is the Chicago market like today in 2026?
Right now, it's kind of a tale of two different types of properties. We're looking at condos that are a little softer, single families, multi-units, and townhomes that are pretty much a strong market right now. Now, even though I say condos are a little softer, it's still a pretty solid market. We, as a whole in Chicago, we're only holding 2.8 months of inventory, which really means we're in a seller's market. The difference really we're running into is in the condo market, some of the properties just aren't as upgraded, or the people are really trying to push the price. Because over the last few years, we've had a good increase. I mean, we are still seeing a good increase. Experts are saying we're somewhere between 6 to 10% increase this year. Different neighborhoods are higher, different neighborhoods are lower. Like your Lincoln Park neighborhood will probably be around a 4% increase. But if you go out to Belmont Cragen, you're going to probably see a 25 to 30% increase. Up in Uptown, where you're at, you're going to find about a 15% increase. You know, this is based on just what's out there in the market and what people are putting together right now, which is a lot of times a much more staged, much more higher quality looking property to get on the market, so they can actually adjust what they're looking for. Either they want to upgrade their property and get a bigger single family home, or if they want to downsize. So we're actually seeing a really strong market here. We just, unfortunately, we're low on inventory.
So it's before we started recording, you were telling me how the Chicago market and what the media portrays are two different things. Can you go into a little more detail on that?
Yeah, so what you're hearing a lot of times, you hear in the national media that the real estate is going down. I mean, even some of the webinars I just watched this morning were talking about how the market is soft a little bit. The media really is talking about more of the flashy areas. Now, I think when you look at this, look at from the state of Washington, go down to California, go over to Nevada for Las Vegas area, Arizona, Texas, you go to Florida, and then you go all the way up to Connecticut. There's a lot of new development that's happening in that location. The greater Chicago area does not have a lot of new development. We do have development going, but it's so far outside of the city that a lot of people just don't really want to travel that far unless you have to. So, but even on the flip side, when you say the Florida market's on a bad run, over the last like 4 or 5 years, you've seen 20% increases every year for 4 to 5 years. Now, all of a sudden, now you have a 15% decrease. I'll take that any day of the week. You know, in Chicago market, we really don't see the downward slides as much. Now we've had during the recession, we had a few percentage points down, but we picked up right away, right after 2012, when things started picking back up again. When I was telling all my investors to buy and all my homeowners to buy, a lot of them were afraid to do it. Some did, and the people who didn't do it, I heard from emails and phone calls like, "Why didn't you make me buy back in?" It's because the market's great. And I'm like, here's my email, here's my text message that I sent to you back in 2012. And when, yes, I'm not going to spend your money, but yes, it was a great time. We're still seeing that. And people are saying our market's bad here in Chicago, but that's just going off numbers of sales. And we're down on numbers of sales because we have less listings. We're down over, I think it's like over 30%, 33% of our listings, even from last year to this year, or 2 years ago to this year. You know, we're running a deficit in that area. So we are selling less properties, but they're selling for more. You know, basic supply and demand is really hitting the Chicago market. You know, when COVID started, we had a lot of people that decided they had to work from home. So that really started our market here. So all the young professionals who had a studio or 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom, 1 or 2 bath that was either single or a young couple decided they needed to have an extra bedroom for an office. So that changed the market a lot. A lot of those studios and 1 bedroom started buying the 2 bedroom houses, or condos. The 2 bedroom condo people was either going to a 3 bedroom condo or a single family home. And then the price difference between a 2 to 3, along with the rise in HOA fees, just made it more feasible to buy a single family home a little bit more in the suburbs. That's where we saw a lot of our increases. I mean, 2 and 3 years ago, you were seeing 20% increases basically across the board because of this. And now last year, when we had that huge interest rate in the beginning, we saw a huge drop in purchases. Now that we're back at six, upper fives and sixes, we're getting back to where people are starting to come back and starting to buy into the market. And it's also making the people who've had a house for 10, 15 years and did get that 2 or 3% interest rate are now like, okay, the average interest rate was 7 and 8%. Now we're at 6. I can give away my 3% interest rate because I have so much equity. I'll be fine with getting a 6% loan because I have over 50% equity. What is it? I think 70% of homeowners in the United States today have at least 50% equity, if not completely paid off.
Yeah. You shared a lot of really good data and trends. And like, as I'm listening, one thing that really stands out to me is how Chicago from COVID changed the kind of market it is. Because prior to COVID, Chicago historically didn't see really amazing appreciation, like kind of the standard 1 to 3%. But something happened. Like, it wasn't ever a hot market like Florida or Texas, the boom or bust markets. It was just slow, very steady growth. But something after COVID, it made it grow so fast that it's turned it into still quiet in terms of national news, but a very high appreciating market.
Yes, that actually, it was a lot of that because people started working from home, and they needed more space than what they originally had. I mean, I have a single gentleman that I work with, and he had a 1 bedroom in the downtown area. And he's still single right now, and he's happy with that area. But he was when that happened, he needed to have a bigger space. So we ended up moving him up into just south of Uptown area, where he got a nice, beautiful 2 bedroom, 2 bath that he loves because he can actually walk into Andersonville and things like that. So he's really happy up there. But he needed the extra bedroom for an office because now he's working out of the house.
Nice. Yeah.
That happened to a lot of people in the suburbs as well.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people national market who aren't familiar with Chicago realize how much of an amazing city it is. And so once people got the chance to work remotely and be in the city more and actually enjoy it, I think the market really did shift like crazy. And our economy is very stable. Have you noticed the same thing because we have different employers?
Yes, yeah. We have, Pritzker's been bringing people in. I mean, Chicago itself has always had good businesses. I mean, we lose some and we get some. Last year was the least amount of people that exited the greater Chicago area in almost 30 years. We do always have an exit, but we still always have a lot of people coming in. There is a lot of business here. I mean, Google came here, it's just short of 10 years ago. And they finally just got the downtown building fully set up for themselves. I mean, we're one of the larger cities in the United States, so over almost 8 to 9 million people in the greater Chicago area. As I was mentioning before, there's also some other stuff going on, like stay in Chicago, in the greater Chicago area, go to Arlington Heights. There's great investment opportunities. We do have a gluttony of just opportunities here in the greater Chicago area for real estate, buying and selling, and keeping people here. I mean, we're also one of the best. I don't know if it's currently right now, but a few years ago, we were the #1 city in the United States for food. I go out to restaurants all the time. I started my I guess I call this a hospitality business, being a real estate, because I've always been in the bar restaurant business as well. I'm always there to try to make sure that whatever my clients, it's the best outcome for them. This town has so much great food and great pizzas and restaurants and just everything. So
it's true. The food here is second to none. I think maybe like there are parts of other cities like Mexico City that has also great food culture, but Chicago by far one of the best food cities in the world, not even in the US.
Yeah. It's good to have just like, I mean, you're in Uptown, so in the Andersonville area, there's so many different styles of restaurants, from South African restaurants to Pakistani restaurants to the barbecue grills, to the vegetarian restaurants, which unfortunately I never go to, but my wife does. So, but yeah, so there's such great things, and then also we're also close to Lake Michigan. I mean, very few places have a lakeshore drive like we have, or a river walk if you go into the city. I mean, they're talking about expanding it down to the 78th Street area for the Chicago Fire. making all that just a great walkable city to go do things. I mean, when I lived here before I got into real estate, I didn't have a car. I was in great shape. I had 2 or 3% body fat. And I'm not a small guy. I was at 270 pounds with that, because all I did was walk and work out and bike and rollerblade. And it's such a great place to be. Or go down and stop by North Avenue Beach and play some chess. Yeah, you'll get beat a lot of times because these guys are really good. But it's a lot of fun to have. This town is just great.
It's a great city. So based on all of this, what is your view on how Chicago market will evolve in the next 10 years?
I see for sure in my opinion, in the next 3 to 5 years, we will see a good increase in value. I myself, I'm a little bit more optimistic. So most of the experts saying 6 to 9. I still see us higher, like keeping to that 9 and 15% for the next 3 to 5 years, and then kind of leveling off. We will finally get to that point where we're down to the national average of 4.1 that we've had if you spread over the last 50 years, we have about a 4.1, 4.3, give or take, increase in value over the long time. Yes, we have a lot of ups, so we also have a lot of downs. But if you just spread it out over a long frame, you're looking at a 4% increase on an average. So I foresee that continuing. We're kind of the center of the United States, so we will have a lot of industry, we'll have a lot of business, we will keep just moving on, and I don't foresee anything major happening to the Chicago market over the next decade. I see good, solid, steady growth, because we don't do the high increases in value, for the most part. Ours, even during the recession, we didn't drop that much. We didn't go down like some of the places. Like I had a condo in Vegas when we left. We sold it for $190,000. 2 or 3 years later, it sold as a foreclosure for $25,000. We don't have that here in the Chicago area, and we didn't have that back then. So I see some good, solid growth and investment, and just as a place to live and to grow and to raise families.
Yeah, I see that as well. It's interesting that you say we'll eventually hit the national average. I want to switch gears because I want to talk about you and your expertise. You're obviously extremely knowledgeable on the market, but understanding the market is one thing. Providing a great client experience and making sure your clients win in any type of market is a whole other thing. How do you go about making sure your clients win, they be buyers or sellers?
So on both of them, one of our first times we talk, I try to set up a meeting so we can sit down and talk and go over. I really need to figure out their goals, what their needs are, kind of get what their wants are, but I'm also brutally honest with them. I'm going to tell them flat out, you might want that $800,000 house, but realistically, your payments, you want to be in that $500,000 or $600,000 house. So let's find one of those, and then later on, we can actually either upgrade the current house to the same quality of an $800,000 house. So if you want all the high end stuff to it, we can do that while you're living there. I have my wife actually happens to be an interior design general contractors that we work with to help get your house elevated to the interior to what you want. If you can qualify for the bigger one, then yes, we'll do it. But what we're going to do is we're going to sit and we're going to talk. We're going to figure out exactly what you want, try to hit your goals. And I will go over, in my belief and in my experience, what will actually happen to help get you there. And also I will unfortunately be also telling you what you can't do, but that is part of what being a consultant or a real estate broker should be. Someone that's not just afraid to not tell you what the honest truth is. I run into a lot of brokers and a lot of people actually in general as a whole will always, instead of trying to really give everybody the full information because they don't want to hurt their feelings, will try to sugarcoat things. That's not how I do it. And my clients all know that. And I would say in my real estate business, I'd say 95% of my business is referral business because people know that I really take care of them. On the buy side, I am that agent that will fight the other agent on the other side to drop that price by another $5,000 or $10,000 or ask for more closing cost credit so you can keep more money in your pocket. I'm a big fan of keeping money in your pocket. So when you do buy your house, you can buy the new appliances if you need it. you can get that new bed. You can do all the fun stuff you want. Or you can get that brand new 100, I think it's 100 or 120 inch flat screen TV now that just came out just before the Super Bowl, So you can afford to buy those things. On the sell side, I will fight for that extra $5,000 or $10,000. I had a client once that goes, I said, no, I know they'll go for 15,000 more. He's like, oh, all you want is the extra commission. And I laughed at him and I'm like, okay, $15,000. Let's figure out that commission. Okay. All right. How about I give you the commission and I'll keep the difference, And he was like, well, what is that? And I said, well, let's round it out. It's $1,000 commission extra. So you get the 1,000 and I'll keep the extra 14. Does that work for you? He's like, well, no. And I said, so I'll take the headache of arguing with the other agent, arguing with the attorney, arguing with everybody to make sure I make you $14,000 more. And you just sit back and relax and just be happy when we get done. And then we'll sign the contract and you got it. And he was like, okay. And we ended up getting $17,000 more. And because actually at the last minute I changed. I went to 18,000 higher. And then they came back and I dropped it by only 1,000 and said, that's all we're doing. And we got it. I do that constantly with my clients. I am not that agent that just cares about how many deals I do. I care about what goes into my clients' pockets. That's what makes me happy when I do a deal. I love it when I'm able to help a client get a property to buy it or sell a property and sell it. But the happy part is when I can actually tell them, no, let's go for more money, either selling or buying to be leveraged on their side. And that's why a lot of my clients refer me out because I do that.
I love what you said. I think realtors come in a lot of shades and colors and expertise.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the industry. We have ones that are very emotionally driven, saying like does this fit your dream? Does it fit your goals and all of that? You're saying it needs to fit your goals, but also I'm going to get you a financially rewarding deal. If you're a buyer or seller, and you're a tough negotiator. It's obvious you're a tough negotiator. So you're implementing it to make sure your clients get it.
Right. And I also and one of the things, being in real estate during the short sale foreclosure era, I never want my clients to be house poor. I have clients that are telling me, oh, I'm qualified. Like I have a client recently that just purchased up in Glenview. I sold this house here in Evanston. When I put it on the market, nobody thought I would get that price for it. Had the open house, went under contract in 7 hours, 7% over asking price, and that wasn't even the highest offer that came in. It was just the strongest offer. We ended up buying something in Glenview. They were qualified for over 1.5 million. We ended up buying something for 800,000 because it matched what they wanted. It matched what they needed. There were those houses that were that big, but it used most of their money. And I'm like, what do you guys like to do? Do you want to travel? I mean, they have a little baby and I go, you want to travel? You want to take her around? I mean, one of my experiences as a kid, and I never thought this was outstanding until after I married my wife and a lot of my friends. My mom and dad had a motorhome. We took 1 month off every year from my preschool to about my somewhere in my junior high. And we traveled the United States in a motorhome. I went everywhere. I thought it was normal. We saw other families that did this, and so I never thought anything about it until now. And that's what I talk to my clients about. What do you want to do? What kind of experiences do you want to have in your life? Your house is your house, and you need to have that. It's great. You need to have a great place like that. But you also need to live your life. You also need to invest. I mean, I got clients right now. I have a client that back in 17, they got 2 kids that graduated Northwestern. They wanted their kids to go to school. And so I told them, I said, hey, let's do an investment that's a little different than what you would normally do. And they're like, what's that? I go, there's a 25 or 28 plan that helps you invest, kind of like a 401k. I go, let's do this instead. Let's find you a 3-flat near Northwestern. We'll buy it. You will put your 20 or 25% down. You will rent it out. We'll make sure it's a positive cash flow. You will pay yourself back part of what the rent is. And when your kids get old enough to go to school, hopefully they'll go to Northwestern because you're alumni. If not, that's fine. What happens is when they go to school, you transfer the property over to the kids. Now you don't have to pay for their college. You don't have to pay for anything with them. They will get the income from the property. They will live in one and they'll have roommates and they'll get income. And it worked out to where they were getting $2,000 a month. as of 3 months ago, they just got back their $203,000 that they put into this property as their 25% down. For the last 3 months, they've been actually able to put 2,000 a month away, and that's actually, I don't know what their rents are now, but that's based on the rents when we bought it. So I know it's more than that. The numbers I have up here is right now their loan is only about 473,000 on this property. It's worth a little over $1 million. The kids still aren't ready to go to college yet. They got about the first one's ready to go in about 2 years. The next one will go 2 years after that. After the kids graduate school, they're going to be able to do whatever they want with the building. They can sell it or keep it rented. And I told them to sell it, and at that point, like if the numbers are just right now, that's $527,000 of equity. That can pay out both of the kids' college tuition for a 4-year college and help them start a business. Let's move forward. And I got 2 people doing that right now. And that's just a great different way to invest for younger families, if you can afford to do it. And it doesn't have to be the expensive property like this. This was an 825 property. You can do it on a cheaper one, a 300, 200, whatever, anything to help in that area. Yeah, no, we're not.
There's the good thing about Chicago is actually that you do get all the different price points. You can be 300. You can also, you can be 20 million if you want. Yeah, like you can get extremely high quality stuff, like great education, great schools, great food, great town, great neighborhood, everything for around 600 to 700. Like that's like world class everything, which makes it really affordable compared to a city like Boston, where a 1-bedroom in like an average part of the city is $1 million too. So yeah, that is one of the beauties of Chicago and its diverse market, and that is a beautiful plan that you laid out for your client. We're coming up on time, so I have one question for you. What can buyers and sellers do to prepare themselves to win?
Meet with their agent and a mortgage broker. Really kind of just understand they won't understand what they want initially, but what they want to do is you're going to find out what you can qualify for. Then talk with your agent, preferably me. And what we'll do is we'll sit down and we'll go over basically your goals and things like that. And our first time out, I know this is not what a lot of agents do, but I do. I like to take people out. We're going to see 10 or 15 properties on the first day. That's a lot. That's more than enough. But what I do is I bring a sheet with me. For every property, you have my buyers will have between 3 to 4 to 5 questions to answer. Just kind of, and it really kind of narrows down for me what we're looking for, so we can actually quickly find something to match what you're looking for. It kind of really narrows down the search for me as for buyers. I really sit down and I go over the full contract with them. I'll go line by line over it. I've done it. I've spent 2 hours on it. I've spent 5 minutes on it. It all depends on the client. But you really just need to get going and start the process, and just listen to your agent. There's a lot of people out there that are real estate agents, or they talk about being real estate agents, but they happen to be your dentist. They happen to be your hairstylist. If anybody out tells you that they know what they're doing for real estate, great. I'll ask them what firm they're with or what have you. And then all of a sudden they say, oh no, but this is Uncle Charlie's best friend's sister who is an agent that told me this. Great. Go talk to her instead. Or go talk to somebody else. But just talk to a real estate agent and a mortgage broker to help you figure out this whole thing. Because there's a lot of stuff that is done on my side that I never tell my clients. There's a lot of stuff I do in the background. I know as a mortgage broker like you, there's a lot of stuff you do in the background to help make sure that the deal goes through and to make sure your clients are taken care of. And that's what you want. You want an agent that's willing to do that. Be willing to talk with a few of them. And please do not fire that agent or that broker just because you want to feel bad. This is one of your largest, not over 95% of the people, this is your largest purchase you'll ever have in your life, and or sale. You want somebody that's in your corner 100%, that is willing to do anything and everything that is legal for you to make sure that you have the best experience possible and that you're able to buy that house, sell that house, and either get the highest price for it on the sale or get it for the best price and the best terms on the buy side, and that all comes with interviewing agents, interviewing brokers, sitting down and talking and taking that time to either have like a Zoom call or meet in their office and not just oh, hey, I want to go see this house. Let's go see it. You need to have somebody that's working on your team with you. This is a team business. This is realistically a team to buy you a property.
I love that. That's really good. And if what you said resonates to people that are interested in working with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
They can always call me, 773-551-8091. Reach out to me at Todd at the Fight Group. So it's THEFIKE group.com. Always will get back within 24 hours, hopefully sooner. Some days I do too, take a full day off.
That's beautiful. Amazing. Todd, thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Have a great day.